Wow. We are hearing some great success stories today. And today I'm going to share something with you called the transformative path. What is the transformative path? It is actually what we go through, trials and tribulations of life, adversities, traumas. How do we actually get through them every single day? Sometimes we may recognize the traumas that we are going through. Sometimes they may be hidden. As we can already say, they may be from our childhood. They may be when we have been growing up, going to school, education. It may well be the future self, which is probably the marriage, having the children, and so forth. So my mum, she had 5 girls, all under the age of 5 years old. Wow. She had 1 daughter in the January, she had 1 daughter in the December, 2 actually in 1 year. So culture shapes us, our religion shapes us, our personalities shape us. I can remember as far as about 3 or 4 years old when my traumas really started. My parents split up at a very young age. And of course, I was born in the UK and they got married in the UK. And very, very difficult time. You know, you have to sort of look at what is my journey going to be like. I can remember seeing my father just at the school gates, looking down at us, thinking, those are my daughters. But because their marriage was not successful, it had an impact on our lives. And my trauma started right there. 24 years later, I met my father, but only for one time. I decided, if I could just meet you one more time, just one more time, that's all I need. Because he had his new family. So we did. We chatted, we cried, we hugged, and we decided this was our meeting, and that was it. And unfortunately, I never saw him again. But when I was the age of 15 years old, I should have been in school sitting my exams, but instead, I was a breadwinner for the family. I went out, worked in a factory, and I missed some of my exams. I felt like I was not worthy. I was not clever. I didn't have the education behind me that I wanted and I needed. Then the next trauma hit when I was 17 years old. This is a trauma I'm not going to go into right now because sometimes this upsets a lot of people. I'm not going to do that today right now. But I survived that trauma. I survived that trauma. About 2 years after that, unfortunately, the next thing happened. My sister was found dead. She was barely 20, 21 years old, didn't quite reach 21. We were very close. We used to work together. And one day, at the corner of the street where we should have met, she just didn't turn up. And I knew, in my heart, already that morning, she was dead. I was calling my family members, have you seen her? Have you seen her? No one had seen her. Then, that was another traumatic experience of my life. I went into, I would say, a downward spiral, emotionally, mentally, because how was I supposed to cope with the death of my sister? Then, I was put on a lot of medication, as we do, anxiety, stress, tablets and medication. And on my records, anxiety, anxiety, anxiety. One day I decided, enough, I don't want to take medication anymore. I've got to solve this myself. And hence I started to work on me. Until another episode of something happened. This time, after the birth of my 3rd child, I had a split pelvis, which meant it was so traumatic. It was the same impact as if you're going down the motorway 100 miles an hour and it's a head-on crash in a car. That was the same impact. I was disabled now, and I was disabled for 4.5 years, not being able to walk. My surgeon said to me, Parveen, we can actually do an operation and put metal plates into your body. You may or may not walk. It was a 50-50 chance even after the operation. I was 27 years old and I decided, you know what, doctor, thank you, but no thank you. Now, a 27-year-old person would normally say, yes, please, Get me well, I need help, I need help. But for me, what was the chance of me ever walking again? Because that's what I felt he was telling me. So I struggled. I had a bed downstairs. I had carers coming in, had nurses coming in to look after me. My newborn baby, I never held her. So this went on for 4.5 years. My husband lost his job. He became my carer too. We were on an extreme amount of medication now, extreme amount of medication. I then recovered miraculously after 4.5 years. I could walk again. I had faith, I had trust. I had to believe in myself that I need to look after myself better. And during those years, those 4.5 years, there was an epiphany moment. Something very divine happened to me, which is maybe for another time, because it's a long story. But I had the faith now that I am here for a purpose. I have a mission, and I must not walk away from it. So then I went into education, and I trained, and I started helping children who were emotionally, mentally going through things, sufferings. Maybe they weren't heard, and maybe their parents committed suicide too. What my job was as a mentor was to put a smile on a child's face. That was it. If I got a 1% smile on a child's face, guess what? My job was done. I helped in schools, between many schools, and I taught about cultural diversity, I taught about Mahatma Gandhi, I even taught about village life in India, because people need to know this is the basics, and then we build upon that. And it was amazing to see the coverage that we were getting with all the cultural diversity in a zone where it was really, really needed. I have here 3 things that I'm focusing on today. Realizations. We realize when our life has gone through such adversities and traumas, we've got to come back into our health. Then, further down the line, I became a coach to help people. I didn't just have one disability. The second disability came years later. This time it was breathing difficulties. And that 80-year-old girl who's standing in front of me, who I never held, is saying, Mum, get up. We need to go to school. But could I breathe? No, I couldn't. If she had not got the ambulance 999 when she did, I would not be standing here in front of you right now. So my story is adversities, sufferings, finding the strength, having the resilience to get through it, and reinventing your life. And today, I am a global speaker. I've gone from a wheelchair user to world stage. So this is my story. And thank you very much for having me here today.